XRP has dipped down to around 301 right now, while the overall crypto market is sitting at about 3.78. Whenever we experience these kinds of pullbacks in the crypto space, I immediately turn my attention to the total market cap. It was heading toward the $4 trillion mark. That's when we started to see the market take a bit of a hit. But even with that, I stay locked in. I know the kind of money that's on the horizon. You don't have to take just my word for it. Either according to Bohan from the White House, just the implementation of stablecoin regulations could inject over $15 trillion into this space. Now, of course, this isn't going to happen overnight, but I believe within the next 6 months to a couple of years, say anywhere from 2 to 5, we're going to witness an explosive growth phase in crypto. When we hit moments like this in the market, I'm either holding or buying, no in between. Right now, I'm holding tight. Quick heads up, Zach Rector just shared some news. XRP Las Vegas 2026 is going to be absolutely massive. I had a chat with Brad Combs from Digital Perspectives just yesterday, and he's backing that claim 100%. I've spoken with Brad myself, and I'm telling you, this is one event you don't want to miss. Something big is brewing. Lock it in. Now let's talk about what really caught my eye. Tether just minted another $2 billion in USDT. Yep, $2 billion printed in just the last hour, bringing the total since July 1st to $7 billion. That kind of move doesn't happen for no reason. Does it signal something major on the horizon? I'm betting yes. If that's not enough, there's talk that interest rates could be heading lower. The Fed is meeting soon to decide if they'll cut, raise, or keep rates steady. What do you think they'll do? Interestingly, Trump just took a jab at the Fed chair, trying to pressure him into slashing rates. Despite that, Jerome Powell is standing firm, telling his inner circle he has no plans to step down. Now here's Mohammed Alirian weighing in, and forgive me if I've mispronounced his name, but even he's openly criticizing the Fed chair. And let's be real, he's not the only one. President Trump's even given Jerome Powell the nickname, Too Late Powell. Do you think that's fair? Alirian certainly does. He points out that Powell was late to acknowledge inflation back in 2021, delayed rate hikes in 2023, and now risks falling behind again. His message, the time to act is now. He's urging Powell to take the lead and push for a 25 basis point rate cut at next week's meeting. And here's the kicker. Alirian doesn't stop there. Based on his comments, he's not just suggesting Powell should step aside to protect the Fed's independence. He flat out says that if Powell were a CEO, he would have been fired already for the string of missteps. It's a bold statement. And then we've got Trump chiming in with his own take on the Fed chair. He shared that he had what he called a very good meeting. Jerome Powell setting aside the chaos in D.C., of course. According to Trump, Powell told him something pretty direct. The country's doing well. Congratulations. Now, Trump interpreted that as a clear sign he believes Powell might be gearing up to push for lower interest rates. Will Powell say that publicly in the upcoming announcement? Who knows? But from Trump's perspective, the Fed chair's praise for the economy was a strong hint that rate cuts could be coming soon. Let's hope Trump's right, because if he is, we could be looking at the beginning of a serious crypto surge. Now, let's shift to something equally intriguing, the slow fade of IPOs. What's happening in the private market might be more than just a trend. It could be a transformation. If access to private investments continues to expand the way many are predicting, we may see the lines between public and private markets start to blur. Personally, I lean toward convergence. Take Nasdaq's Tape D, for example. It's a private market platform that supports transactions in private companies and offers stronger disclosures for investors. That directly competes with a lot of the newer tokenization platforms popping up. But the key difference, TAPED works directly with the companies, and it's geared toward accredited investors. And here's where it gets real. If we're already okay with people trading equity in private companies, especially those watching this video, we're likely deep in the research phase, maybe even building something. Then the next step could be bringing that activity on chain. If that happens, and if what Nasdaq's CEO is suggesting plays out, we could be witnessing the beginning of the end for IPOs as we know them. The death of IPOs might not be just a phrase, it could be the future. Now check this out. Paul Barron just sat down with Sergey Nazarov, one of the minds behind Chainlink, and what Sergey had to say is huge. He pointed out that if tokenization spreads across the board beyond just stablecoins and starts covering everything from real estate and investment funds to commodities and equities, then where those assets are issued will matter a lot. If all those tokenized assets end up being launched outside the US, chances are they'll be traded and settled in non-US dollar payment methods on blockchain. That shift could really accelerate the global movement away from the dollar. But flip the scenario. If the US financial system leads the way in issuing the top-tier tokenized assets, then there's a strong chance the dollar becomes the dominant currency for blockchain-based transactions. In fact, that could actually increase U.S. market share in the global financial space. And this isn't just theory. This is the case Sergey says they've been presenting in D.C. and to leaders around the world. There's more trade and asset flows. Move on chain. Countries are going to start competing to have their currency used for settlement on blockchain networks. That's the next frontier. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about one country winning. If this is done right, we all win. Here's another solid clip. This one features Matt Haugen from Bitwise, and it sheds light on how they're thinking about crypto ETFs right now. So, Bitwise is behind several filings: Solana, XRP, Dogecoin, and a basket product. But the question was, why only those? Why not file for everything on the list? Matt explained that their approach is intentionally selective. They're not just trying to check every box. They're looking for assets that actually serve a purpose in the real world, have real utility, and, most importantly, have strong, engaged communities behind them. And interestingly, he said, it's not about whether everyone loves the token. In fact, they've filed for ETFs on coins that are straight up hated by parts of the crypto community. But from Bitwise's standpoint, that doesn't matter. What does matter is, does the asset do what it promises? And is there a passionate community ready to back it? If the answer to both is yes, then it's worth considering for an ETF. That's why they've moved forward with things like Solana, XRP, and Dogecoin, but not Litecoin. Matt pointed out that Litecoin, for example, might not check those same boxes. Others might disagree, and that's fine. But Bitwise wants to be strategic about what they launch. You'll see more single-asset products from them, but not a flood. Of everything on the market, they only want to put forward ETFs that actually make sense long-term. Then the conversation shifted to an interesting point about the divide between crypto Twitter and Wall Street. The interviewer asked how in touch traditional finance is with the sentiment and buzz. We see in the crypto space like how Solana gets major love online, and XRP remains controversial. Matt was pretty clear after Bitcoin and Ethereum, understanding, drops off sharply on the Wall Street side. The appetite and narratives that dominate crypto Twitter don't always make it through to institutional circles. So while the crypto world might be bullish on something like Solana, Wall Street might still view Ethereum as risky. It's like living in two different universes, and even for someone like Matt, who navigates both worlds, that disconnect is very real. Here's something I keep repeating. This is all a PR game, and XRP is playing on a much bigger stage. It's literally 10 times the size of Solana, and now we're seeing even more momentum. Case in point, AB is expanding to the XRP ledger. That's a huge move. So what's the chance we start seeing XRP and Solana become integrated into the AB ecosystem? In the short term, we might see wrapped versions of these assets brought into EVM-compatible chains as a sort of workaround. But long term, the goal is clear. AB wants to be everywhere, and that includes both the Ripple and Solana ecosystems. And here's another major highlight. AB already hosts the largest pool for RLUSD. That's a major milestone. And it could seriously boost visibility and utility, not just for AV, but for the assets connected to it. Now, let's circle back to Paul Barron, who's been absolutely on fire today. He just reported that XRP has broken out of a 6-year triangle pattern. Yes, 6 years. The big question now, is this just a minor pullback or a golden DCA dollar cost averaging opportunity? Look at these numbers. XRP surged 25.8% this week, hitting a new local high at $3.61, the highest level in over 6 years. Key support is sitting at $3. Next upside target is $4. And a $7 price point isn't just speculation, it's becoming a legitimate midterm projection. All signs point to something big brewing. Major news just dropped. Wall Street heavyweight Citi is now predicting Bitcoin could reach $135,000 by the end of the year. Get this, in a bullish scenario, they see it pushing as high as $199,000. Now, if that happens, you already know what it means for XRP and the altcoins' massive upside across the board. Now, if you want to go deeper into the conversation, head over to diexrp.com and check out the Patreon. Prefer sticking with YouTube? Just tap that join button under any of my videos, or hit that subscribe button on Twitter to support the movement. Today's episode includes a few things I don't usually talk about in public stuff. I normally reserve for behind-the-scenes convos, but trust me, you're going to find it very interesting. A quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This content is for entertainment only. If you're enjoying this, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends, your family. If you're crypto crewlets, get the word out. Let's dive in.